Alright, yo, what's up everybody? Joe Dobby here, back at it again with another deck profile video for you today. This deck that I built, I call it my Ishida brothers deck because it features Matt Ishida and his brother TK. So this is pretty cool. I made it in theme, so it's got their partner Digimon, Metal Garurumon, and Seraphimon, and it heavily relies on stalling your opponent through recovery, getting key cards into your recovery or security like Trump Sword and Holy Flame. This card actually came super clutch throughout the entire tournament, so it was really great. And at the same time being able to take care of the board through retaliation through Devimon, Wizardmon, and eventually Chimeramon if I have to. So this is a pretty cool deck. I just want to go over my experience at the tournament. First of all, shout out HG Gaming TCG for hosting something really cool. This was designed to kind of get new content creators into the mix. So this tournament had 32 content creators who were basically just playing some rounds and having some fun. I managed to place 6th at the tournament with this deck, and mind you, I was facing some pretty spicy stuff. I was facing some Omnimons, whether it was red or blue, and I was facing a yellow DP minus deck, and yeah, it was really great. So first game was against Tyler. If you guys are not aware of his channel is actually TCG Tamer. You guys can look him up, and he was playing a Leopardmon deck which focused on just building a wide board, getting jamming, level 4 spice with Vidramon that allows you to unsuspend with a tamer. He was also running red tamers like the Tai in order to get Guy Force into his security. In addition to that, he had a top end of I think 2 or 3 Omnimon. So this was such a close game. We ended up at a draw. I basically stalled him out a lot, managed to get a lot of DP build up from TK. And if he didn't have a Leopardmon, his level 4 or more Digimon were guaranteed to hit the bucket and get discarded. So managed to play some key moments where I took out Leopardmon because of Trump Sword, and then the TKs, in addition to my other boosted Digimon's DP, managed to hold on there. So we actually ended up only playing 2 games. He took the first one after 40 minutes of gameplay, and then in the remaining 15 minutes, little bit of overtime, I ended up being able to close and win the game. In my next game, I was facing Marcel. Marcel, really cool guy. If you guys haven't heard of Marcel, you can look him up on YouTube, DigiSlots. Pretty cool dude. And he actually ran blue deck, which had an Omnimon top end. Spicy stuff. Really powerful deck. In the first game, it was a back and forth, an absolute duel, right? So I was playing like some pretty big guys, getting a lot of recovery in, and we managed to get our security down to 1 on each of our ends, and I ended up losing by literally like 1 security and 1 attacker. In the second game, however, he managed to really build up to Omnimon fairly quickly and wipe my board because I believe I had a couple Wizardmon out, which really just ended up being discarded as a result of that. Really tough game, my only loss at the tournament, and yeah, it was really awesome. So shout out Marcel. In the next round, I was facing Anthony, and I took this game 2-1. Anthony was playing a yellow DP minus deck, and what that means is he has Slash Angemon in the mix. He has a lot of rookies that he managed to get out, and he was playing the Symphony card, which is a 5-option card that takes 7,000 DP away. He had some Mistymon in there, so the build was really revolved around taking DP out of your Digimon, maybe deleting some of them as a result, and taking advantage through like Patamon and all that. In the first game, he took it. It was super close, but he managed to out-rookie me. He ended up playing a lot of rookies, and the recovery couldn't keep up, and I ended up taking the L there. However, in the second game, I went off. Metal Garurumon was totally dominant in this game. I managed to land the Metal Garurumon and Wear Garurumon combo over and over again, doing 2 attacks per turn. Sometimes I would even take out a Digimon and then a security because of that combo, drawing cards through the Tapermon as well as I was recovering with Magna. So it was really great. Everything went my way, and I believe I also managed to Trump Sword. And in the third game, the tiebreaker, I was ahead by about 3 security. I had managed to go up to 7 security and be really insane that way. And unfortunately, as I was finishing off my turn, which probably would have taken 1 or 2 more security from his stack and hopefully close the game, he had to drop and leave because I think he had an important appointment to get to. So I took the win there. In my 4th round, I was facing Pablo, super cool guy. Unfortunately, didn't have the chance to share me his channel, but you know, I'll let you guys know if I hear from him, maybe put it in the link in comments and whatnot. And Pablo was running a red. I saw some Metal Tyrannomons in there. I saw some Omnimons in there. I saw some Phoenix Mons in there. It was a good mixture of a red deck. I think it was a good all-arounder red deck, which would have answers to different things. But it felt like a really responsive deck. So what I was doing throughout the time was, ideally, I would get Magna Angemon out first turn, and then Digivolve into Seraphimon second turn, and then I'd have essentially recovered 2 extra security and have security attack +1. If my opponent hasn't touched my security, I'd have 7 security cards, which means Magna Angemon would actually put Seraphimon up to 12k DP, so absolutely powerful there. Yeah, everything went my way in that game. I managed to actually, you know, play my heavy play cost guys early, and then my opponent kind of bricked out, didn't have level 4s to Digivolve his rookies into the level 5s that he had in his hand as well. So he ended up returning that memory, and I ended up capitalizing by playing some key rookies that kept my opponent at 1 or 2 memory throughout the entire game. So pinch situation was the recovery for me, but I felt like I didn't have to do it as often because as long as I could keep him at 1, he would never build up to anything without having a hard cast. So went really well there. In my final game, unfortunately, my opponent Sydney had dropped, so I took the win there. I ended up actually getting 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. Realistically, though, just based off the games that I actually won through playing, it would be 2-1-1, which in my opinion went really well in this deck considering the pool of cards and decks and players that we had at this tournament. We had a couple Omnimon top ends. There was a Megazoo that I never got to face, but I placed at the exhibition. I played against at the exhibition game, and that was super fun. But going through the deck profile here just really quickly, I'm running 4 copies of Yamon for that extra DP, 1 copy of Pagumon just to get some Tapermon in there, you know, something that I can use for Matt or for Metal Garurumon later. 3 copies of Gabumon just to get that extra draw power. 4 copies of Tapermon because if I can hardcast into where Garurumon, get to Metal Garurumon, Tapermon's your best bet to get extra draw as you're making him active. I've got 3 copies of Sukaimon to take advantage of Wizardmon and Devimon just to give me that extra bit of memory for when I play hard play turns. In addition to that, 4 copies of Sukaimon so I can Digivolve into Unimon instead of hard play it. Also, having Sukaimon allows me to, if I already have a Wizardmon on the board, my opponent puts me at 2, I can play Sukaimon, go to 0, Wizardmon can take out a Digimon with Retaliation, so it's a very quick way to get the Retaliation benefit from Wizardmon. And if Wizardmon has Gabumon underneath his stack, I am drawing 3 cards, discarding 1. Really powerful effect. Running 4 copies of Devimon because Retaliation has to be there. I have to have some form of removal besides the 3 Trump Swords and the Chimeramon. I'm only running 1, which is why I figured, you know, having 7 ways to retaliate is good. Or 8 ways, actually. 3 copies of Unimon just to get that clutch blocker, put my opponent in a situation where he has to hesitate as to whether he should attack my security or not. Maybe they could be thrown off balance by the extra Unimon and a Wizardmon on the board. That could throw them off balance because it's like, okay, I'll attack security. If he blocks it with Unimon, you know, Unimon's gone. But if I don't block with the Unimon, I have Wizardmon to retaliate and take their Digimon that attacked security out. So just putting them in awkward situations really got me the wins for the most part. 1 copy of Chimeramon. Once again, this is just a pinch card. Only if my opponent has 1 level 5 and only 1 Digimon, I'll probably play Chimeramon just to make sure his board is empty. Otherwise, I'm probably discarding this card or never using it. 3 copies of Where Garurumon, which came absolutely clutch in this game because the combo with Metal Garurumon was insane. I would be able to actually discard Tapermon to unsuspend Metal Garurumon swing its security or what have you, and then bring out the Tapermon again, having extra bodies and having attacked twice in the turn. And having drawn 2 cards. 4 copies of Magna Angemon. This card came absolutely clutch, and I'm so glad I played it. And this is the whole theme of the deck, which is recovery. It revolves around having Magna Angemon out, because when you play him, sure, your opponent's at 7 memory, but if I play it really, really early, chances are they're hard casting things or they're digivolving up to try and draw, but you can only draw so much and use so much memory for your first turn. So it actually went really well. The recovery +1 came super clutch. 3 copies of Metal Garurumon. This guy took it in my game against the yellow deck. Absolutely powerful. My opponent was unable to remove him, and you know, I just took care of the board and security at the same time by being able to attack twice per turn. I knew he didn't have any Digimon at 11k DP. I just never saw Kantorosmon. All I saw was /Angemon, so I just capitalized, attacked security whenever I could. 3 copies of Seraphimon here. We've got Digivolve, trigger, recovery +1, so I get to draw a card, I recover, and I get security attack +1 when I have 3 or more security cards in my security pile. So really great second turn play because it forces your opponent to use a high cost removal so I can stabilize and play rookies or build up to a Metal Garurumon early game, or if not, I just get a security attack +1 and I have 7 security stacks, so it's pretty great. Magnadramon came clutch as well. I actually ended up winning games because of Magnadramon. I would be able to get security recovery +2 when I have 3 or fewer security cards, and being able to play Magnadramon was great. I'm actually considering making him 2 copies instead of just the 1. 3 copies of Trump Sword. This card came clutch from security, and it was mainly because of being able to recover and take cards from my deck and putting it onto security. So being able to do that actually, you know, increase the chances that a Trump Sword would be in there if I haven't drawn into one or if it wasn't in my discard pile, and I managed to actually play Trump Sword out. Unfortunately, there were a lot of awkward situations where my opponent would already have 1 or 2 Digimon that are suspended, so when Trump Sword would come out, it wouldn't do anything, but it is what it is. I've got a 2 cost Holy Flame, 2 copies here. This card, once again, clutch. This deck is all about high risk, high reward, and it managed to pull through. And Holy Flame, super strong security effect. It actually negates you from winning the game because it gives your opponent's Digimon security attack -1. So unless your opponent has security attack +1 to balance it out, they can't actually swing for game. So it's really great as a last security. It's also really great as a mid-game security when you are almost there for the win and your opponent is close to sealing the deal. If Holy Flame comes out, it doesn't matter how many Digimon they have on the board, they're not going to be able to attack. Play Holy Flame from my hand sometimes to give that 1 Digimon that they had on the board after removing so many of theirs security attack -3, so it eventually really just not do anything, and then they'd probably swing just to avoid Trump Sword, which I could then retaliate into, or they just leave it there so I could easily Trump Sword. It's pretty cool. 2 copies of Matt for memory stabilization. If I got him out early, I could Magna and put my opponent to 4 with no issues, and then I'd be on 3, so I'm guaranteed to Digivolve into either Metal Garurumon or Seraphimon, and being able to take advantage of those Digimon by attacking, so worked pretty good there. 3 copies of TK. This guy came super clutch. Made my rookies at the lowest, which is 2000 DP. Best, my rookies were 8000 DP. If you were swinging into my security stack and I managed to get Magna Angemon out early, and I have 2 TKs on the board, that makes my rookies 6000. Even if I had 1 TK, that would make my rookies 4000 DP. That gets around most level 4s. So my opponent had to build into something before they could even attack my security, and by that time I would have had a huge recovery stack or a security pile, or I would have used Trump Sword or my retaliation Digimon in order to seal the deal. Overall, shout out to HG Gaming, shout out to Eggman and Aspira for being able to commentate on these games. Way better than I expected. I expected to completely bomb just because of the caliber of decks I expected people to bring. I figured they would be bringing like top-end Omnimon decks just to showcase their talent and piloting ability. And I figured this deck was cool because it represents my channel. My channel is all about playing, you know, against the grain theme decks that I try to either go with the anime or with the games, or just play my favorite Digimon that they synergize in an awkward way or a really cool way. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part, this fired, and I'm so happy. Unfortunately, I might take this apart because I just got my 3 Beelzemon in, and I've always wanted to play a Metal Garurumon Beelzemon deck, but I'll be making a profile of that eventually too. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. There's going to be gameplay to follow. I'm just not sure if I'm going to include it in this video. If you guys are on Twitch and you want to see gameplay of janky decks like this, or even competitive decks that I end up playing. I'm a hardcore purple player. Follow me on Twitch. My name is Joe Dobby, same as the YouTube channel, JODOBBI. Thank you so much once again, guys, and peace. Bye.